campus and moved over, I told one of the janitorial ladies, I told her, I said, if you come and buy any rolls of solder, I said, those have lead in them and shouldn't be going to a landfill. She goes, oh my God, well, where do we put them? And I said, the appropriate place would be on my desk. Yeah. I think by the time that whole thing was over with, I had 20 partial rolls of 60/40 tin lead solder. And I probably have 10 of them still down in the cupboard. Most of them were pretty full.
Yeah. Well, using it's better, reuse or using it rather than recycling it. And in this case, it's hazardous waste.
Yep. Well, what are you working on tonight, Bruce?
I am not working on anything tonight. I just finished a scope up for a guy. He had 3 scopes with plugins. And so I kind of just went through, okay, what works and what doesn't. Well, none of the scopes worked, but most of the plugins worked. Anyway, this one had a shorted capacitor and rectifier in the power supply. And then the fan, the bearing was all gooped up. And so I took the fan out and I went to take it apart so I could, clean the bearings off. Well, it's one of those shaded pole jobs with rivets. It's riveted together. Okay.
Oh, no.
So I drilled the rivets out and got in where I could clean the bearings out and put new lubricant in. And anyway, I could never get the thing lined up again using screws and nuts to put it together. It was always binding. And so I finally gave up and put a muffin fan in off the 15 volts. Well, actually the 18 volts. So anyway, the rest is probably going to go to the museum.
Okay, well, worthy cause.
One of them's got as I recall, it's probably the high voltage multiplier. The high voltage was quite low. And some of those multipliers had issues with time and moisture and what have you.
Well, if you know anybody that would like to buy a nice scope, I have a really nice one for sale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to sell this one.
Oh, okay.
But you know anybody that wants 100 megahertz 4-channel scope,
I'm
going to sell it for about half of what they go for.
That's a Rigol?
That's a Rigol. It's a 1054. It's got current firmware and the upgrade in it, so it's 100 megahertz.
Well, those are good scopes for the money. Oh man, you can't.
They are, and what the reason I bought it to begin with is because the depth of the scope. It's only about 6 inches deep.
Yeah.
And this has got the larger screen on it in full color. But it is my backup scope, and I've decided that I don't need a backup to a backup to a backup. I'm going to keep my trusty Tektronix 2335 here, and I'm going to keep my 2102 and let the other one go.
So, okay, the backup of the backup of the backup. Now, so how many radios have you got backing up to back it up to the backup?
Not as many as you might think. I've only got about 50 radios in my collection.
Okay.
They're all Zeniths and expensive radios now, but no, 2 scopes is enough. That both of those the Rigols I've had don't quit. They just go and go and go. And Tektronix, this one's new enough that it probably lasts me the rest of my life. Yeah. So get rid of that, and then I've got a Fluke multimeter that I'm going to get rid of, a bench unit.
Oh,
I think. Oh, I can probably. Let me see if I can get it on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. One of those. I'm going to get rid of it and be reconfiguring the bench a bit. So I'm going to be getting rid of a number of pieces of fairly modern test gear.
Mhm. Yeah, I've got a nice 4-channel 500 megahertz digital scope, and it makes
nice.
nice measurements. You hard to beat until you start to do XY. And most of the digital scopes don't do shit for XY capability.
No, and that's one of the things about the 2302 is that it's a 300 megahertz backplane, but it's a mixed input device. It actually has 2 analog channels and 2 DSO channels, and it does a really good job on the analog. And that's why I bought it.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I was doing some FM alignment here just the other day, and it's the first time I fired up my big old 544. I needed a little extra heat in the room here anyway.
Yeah. Building waveforms out of dots, huh?
Yeah. Well, all the vacuum tubes in it. During the COVID, I brought part of, a vertical amplifier home for a 517. The 517 was developed really for the military, or Uncle Sam, in '49 for $50,000. They made 1 or 2 of them. That was pretty good money back then. Anyway, and Tech's trying to
still pretty good money.
Yeah. Anyway, they made a product out of it, the 517, but it's got 130 vacuum tubes, 1,250 watts. That's the same as a space heater.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's got a nice forced air fan in it somewhere.
Oh, it's got 2. It's got one for the power supply, which sits separate from the scope itself.
Now the 517 has like over 100 tubes in it. Now, was the 517 had a separate power supply?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I
132.
thought.
Yeah, 130 tubes.
So Bruce, if you plug it into 220, you get twice as much heat out of it if you're using it for a heater.
It puts out enough heat as it is. But anyway, it's a distributed vertical amplifier. And, it was just brute force to get 50 megahertz in 1950. And it wasn't until the 547 came out in 1967 or something like that, 17 years later, that you had 50 megahertz at a lot less power.
Wow. My first scope, I think, was a World War II vintage service scope. It had a big, long thing, probably not much more than probably 10 inches wide and 10 inches high, but it had a pair of leather goggles on the end of it. And I think it was 5 megahertz.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I can't remember the brand of the scope I had, but it had like a 9-inch CRT. I mean, a huge CRT. And it had a spot size to go with the screen size. It was pretty gross.
Sounds like an old Dumont.
No, it was.
Or a
I think it
Sencor.
was Simpson. It starts with an S, I think.
Sencor?
No.
Okay, because I had a Sencor scope that I sold to somebody in the club, but it was a nice scope.
It had
It was probably.
It had differential inputs, which was nice. But yeah, I don't think it was much more than 10 megahertz on it. But anyway.
Yeah, I had a 25 megahertz B&K, little portable unit. I think it had a 3-inch screen on it. And you didn't want to take measurements with it, but if you wanted to see what it looked like, it was fine. I ended up giving it to Chris Butler. Black Diamond. I don't know if I want to answer that or not. I'll see if they leave a message.
Yeah, too
We
many
get
times
phone calls
anymore.
from all sorts of different things, and like Diamo. Nope, no message. Oh well.
Yeah, it seems like anytime they leave a city or a state, it's crap. You just let it go to voicemail.
We had
And some of them even get to voicemail.
Yeah, I had 7 or 8 calls yesterday, and I had to answer them because we were waiting on a courier to contact us to come pick up a car and take it away.
Huh?
And man, did I get, you wouldn't believe some of the stuff that when you answer.
Yeah.
I had 2 marshals call me. I guess I'm in big trouble. My Amazon account is being closed. My social security number has been compromised, and somebody wanting money for the breast cancer association because I gave money in my mother's name 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they didn't call until 8:30 last night. So I get.
I frequently get calls, people trying to sell me something to do with a car warranty. You know, your warranty's about to expire, or your warranty is expired. Well, yeah, I know that.
Rick?
No, and they sell it. They'll say they do them for any car, and when I get those, I get really excited and I pick up and I said, "This is great. I really need the warranty for my car." And they said, "Great. What kind of car have you got?" Well, it's a 1969 Datsun. Yeah. Oh, we don't do those. Well, what good are you? Then I get pissed off at him and hang up, but only when I'm bored.
So
the rest of the time I just let it go.
So Rick, I got rid of the car warranties. So you let it go to voicemail, and then you call the number back. And the number, when you call it back, they actually say, "Do you want to receive calls? If not, press 1." And it's gone. I couldn't believe it.
Does it really work?
It works.
Afraid to do those things because I've acknowledged that I'm there. You know.
I know.
Yeah.
I won't give them the time of day if I can help it.
Well, yeah, I wanted to call them back and get on their ass, you know, because I'm just getting so tired of it.
They got the ones now that when you answer the phone, it's nothing there but a click and a dial tone. And those are validation calls. That's a marketing company seeing if there's anything on the end of the line. Yeah. They don't want to talk to you. They just want to know the number's good, and then they can sell it.
Yeah.
That's why I just decline calls. That if I don't recognize the number, and nowadays, if I get a call that's from somewhere in Oregon, I know it's bogus.
Yeah.
You know, they're call. I still have my Oregon phone number because that's my cell phone. That's the only phone I've got. But I regularly get calls from all over Oregon, from Cannon Beach and from Seaside. And
I live in Milwaukee, and I get calls from Milwaukee, and those aren't good. Anytime they've got a city or a state on there, I ignore it.
Now I get calls that the phone says, "This is spam." You know?
Yeah.
The phone is smart about it.
I want to know how the government does it, but I've got a government issue cell phone for my job, and that thing never gets spam calls. I've had that thing for darn near a year, and it's never had a single call. And I don't know what list they're on, but I want all my phones on that list too.
Yeah. Wow. Son of a gun. So anybody get a chance to read my little article?
No. I saw it there, but I haven't read it.
So what they're doing is doing duplex audio back and forth on the same frequency. Your cell phone, of course, has 2 different frequencies for transmit and receive. So
is it time division, or
no,
are they just letting it float over each other?
Floating over and working on all these details to, you got to somehow null out your transmission power and still receive these microwatts coming back. And then you've got all the problem, even with your transmission power, you've got reflections off of buildings coming back, your own signal, and how you try and deal with all that. But it's they're trying to preserve bandwidth, of course, and but I think it's going to be pretty complicated. So anyway, Rick, call them back next time you get a car warranty. Don't answer the phone, but call them back.
Right.
I'm gonna do that on every call I get. This could be fun.
Well,
I
I
might
don't
have a
know
new
that,
I might have a new hobby.
well, I've tried it on some other calls and there's no such number.
Oh,
Comes back, no such number.
yeah, they spammed somebody else's number.
Uh-huh. Anyway. So what are you up to, Rick?
I've been doing woodworking lately.
Woodworking, huh?
Yeah, I'm building a plant table for my wife. I got the first coat of polyurethane on it today. Even here with as warm as it is, it takes all day for either a coat of stain or a coat of polyurethane or whatever to dry. And we've had low humidities here, but it just takes forever.
Huh. What's your temperature's been like?
Today we were up close to 90.
Oh, geez, really?
Yeah, it's all of a sudden, last week we had a freeze. We had a couple of days where, the temperature at night dropped down below freezing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here we are. It's just blistering hot.
Yeah, we've had frost for several mornings yet. And I think we had a high of 65 today or something close to that, maybe 63. But yeah, you would think that would cure that in a hurry with 90 degrees.
It just, yeah, we're getting humidities down around 20%, which for us
Wow.
is like nothing.
That's impressive for there.
Yeah. And but it's still it took I put a coat of polyurethane on the thing this morning, and I would gladly have done the sanding and done it and put another coat on this afternoon, but it just it didn't feel dry enough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to gum up a piece of sandpaper and ruin what's there. I want to.
Oh yeah.
So I'll do it tomorrow. My wife is off at my daughter's. She went to the beach with them today. They went over to the coast. And
Are you fairly close to the coast?
it's about an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
It's I think we're a little farther from the coast here than we were in Portland.
Uh-huh.
But
But
and
not
of
a
course,
lot.
it depends on which part of the coast you go to. I think they probably went over near. I didn't ask them where they went, but I think they went over probably near Wilmington.
Uh-huh. So Lyles, what are you doing? You've got this clean desk. You can't be doing anything, huh?
Well, I'm getting cleaning out some old files and some old paperwork, and getting ready to get my taxes in.
Ah,
The extension is, I really didn't need the extension because I'm going to get them in a few days, but that's what I've been working on. And I've
okay.
been thinking about which one of my radios I want to pull off the shelf and work on next, and I haven't had a candidate yet. But one of these evenings, I'm gonna when we log in here on a Wednesday night, I'll have something on my table for you guys to take a look at.
All right.
I don't have any shortage of projects.
Oh, you're not alone. You're not alone.
Is anybody gonna go and help clean up the Grange on Saturday? And I'm not gonna make it, but what I was getting at is Clackamas County and Multnomah County, just their risk level just increased for the COVID-19.
Yeah,
So I don't know if anybody can go there or not.
Clackamas had 65 cases yesterday, which is pretty high.
Well, Washington County didn't change, but
Yeah, Washington.
our neighbors have.
But Washington County's been doing about the same as Clackamas. I don't know why they're kind of, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not going to go to the Grange. I had my second shot 3 weeks ago, but I'm going to let things settle down further before I get out and kiss anybody.
I think that makes sense.
We're still pretty high here in North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
Is it legal there to be high?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. I thought that was still spreading that direction.
Oh, no. Not, but the COVID rates here, Wake County, where we are near Raleigh, is still really high. And down where my daughter is, it's even worse, down around Fort Bragg.
Oh,
Well, do you guys have it divided up by counties? I mean, is one county at one level and the next county next door is at another level, or same situation we have here?
Yeah, yeah. We checked my wife checks the New York Times every couple of days to see what the infection rate is, and it's still pretty high here. My wife and I both had both shots about a month ago now, so we're feeling a little more adventuresome, but
right.
it's still, I make sure that I've always got a mask on when I go out in public somewhere.
So do most people wear masks, or do you have trouble with
Most
that?
of them do. There's a few who don't want to, but in general, it's been pretty good. I think people finally caught on that. Yeah, this is the best protection you've got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pretty religious here, wearing their masks.
Well, most around here, most of the stores have, they've got signs up that said,
Yep.
if you're gonna come in here, you got to have a mask on. So,
Mm-hmm.
and we go up to Costco up in Raleigh. It's about 20 miles from us. And of course, they require masks. But Costco did a deal. I don't know if they did it in Portland, but they around here, they opened up the store at 9 a.m. from 9 to 10 for seniors if you're
Yep.
over 65.
They do that at ours in Clackamas here.
And man, that makes a huge difference. So that's when we go to Costco.
Yep.
We've gotten now to where we make up a good list, we go up there, we get in there, in and out. And
Yeah, the parking lot isn't even crowded. It's
right.
amazing.
Yep. You can get real close up at the door to get your $300 worth of purchases
Yeah, that's
in the car.
typically what happens.
Love Costco.
Yeah, and they're pretty strict. I mean, they'll turn the young ones away.
Yeah, they do. They do.
You're gonna have to wait here until 10. Oh, geez. But you don't see that much anymore because everybody's gotten used to that.
Mm-hmm.
When they first started that, why there were a lot of people waiting outside for them to open the floodgates at 10.
I know when things first started up, we'd go up to Costco, and there would be a line all the way down the parking lot, people waiting to get in because they were only letting so many in the store at a time.
Yeah, we had that for.
Of course, that was when everybody was looking for toilet paper too.
Yeah. So everybody buying a bidet now?
I guess.
I've heard of several people that have bought them.
Oh, really?
I ripped one out of my house when we lived in Corvallis. It was nice. All the plumbing was there for a second sink in the vanity. I thought my wife might want to keep it. And she goes, I don't want to clean 2 toilets.
I hear you there. Yeah.
Huh. And this isn't going where it's supposed to go.
Use a bigger hammer.
Yeah, I think I may have the wrong screws here. Oh, they're threaded. Are they threaded? Huh.
Anyway, I've been spending Mondays in isolation at the museum getting things done. But I spent about an hour at this guy's place, Louis Navarra. He had been retired since 1990. Anyway, he had a lot of documentation, Tektronix documentation and stuff that, man, I tell you that my Durango was full. It kind of drove like a Cadillac, nice and smooth with all that weight in it. But geez, a lot of stuff this guy collected over
Was he a
there.
tech employee?
Oh, yeah. Yep. He was involved in the 7912, the DPO. And a lot of the information was DPO related and some 7912. Trying to think offhand what the other was he was involved in. 2000 series. But anyway, I kind of sorted a bunch of stuff and different piles, and some of it went into the garbage, but wow. What a neat history documented there. Barry Gilbert had proposed this probe, and the probe had a screen on the back of it, a small screen. So basically this probe was an oscilloscope, just a little handheld oscilloscope that you could poke right in your circuitry. And that never came to fruition, but anyway, some of the initial data on what they were proposing and some of the ideas were really cute and clever. I had a probe voltmeter once, but I think I left it over at my neighbor's when I was helping him with something, and I've never gotten it back. But it was kind of handy. I mean, you know, the probe's got the little readout for the voltmeter and ohmmeter and all that. I mean, it was not a 5-digit kind of thing, but, you know, for general purpose stuff. What are you working on there, Blake? A dial?
Yeah, working on a 1936 Zenith. Let me turn this thing around so I can show you. It's a 36 Zenith, and they had a little wheel inside that turns, and then the dial went over it. This is a reproduction dial that they didn't bother to poke the white holes out of, but those 3 white holes would tell you what band it was on. Anyway, just slowly but surely putting it back together.
Oh, I see.
This little wheel just spins in here, but the original, the smaller chunk that's missing is where those 2 black dots are at. And one of those 2 dots hooks up to the lever that comes through the side of the over here.
Oh, okay.
You know, this little piece comes up through, and I've got to figure out which of those 2 holes that it goes in, so that when you change the band, it'll turn the wheel. Anyway, that's what I'm working on.
A little bit of mechanical monkey motion there.
Yeah, but my nightmare is over here. This is what I'm working on. And that's a 1949 RCA. And the tube I need is buried somewhere in there. You can see where I've made the hole in the wiring.
Yeah.
To give you an idea how far in it is. It also has access to the back. This thing has 3 tubes on top and 3 tubes sticking out the back.
I'll be darned.
And right in here where I'm pointing my finger is the oscillator tubes. The oscillator's out in this. I can actually put a sleeve around the tube, interject the IF, and the whole radio plays beautifully. So I've confirmed it. And I've had difficulty doing much of anything just because I can't get to it. But slow but sure, we'll get it.
Yeah, that's kind of like some of those German radios. They bury stuff so deep in there that, oh, crap.
I wish this was a German radio. This is far worse than the Saba and the Blaupunkt I have on the other end of the bench.
Yeah.
Two workstations. So German radios are down there and the American radios are down here on this end.
Keep them apart, huh?
Yeah, they fight.
So nobody's going to go to the sale this weekend?
Didn't know there was one.
Wasn't there going to be one with the meeting? Is that right, Franklin?
They've decided to put the sale on the next week. So.
Oh, the 17th?
Yeah, the 17th. So that's what they decided to do. There's supposed to be a sale down south this week, and then one of those big sales. I think that it's too far for me to go, so I don't pay much attention to that.
Okay. That's all right. I'm not buying. I've got a wife, and then I'm out of room.
Yeah, I'm on the you can't bring anything home until something else goes.
Uh-huh.
Don't let me do what I want to do in the garage, but not in the house.
No. Well, you got to have room for your car in the garage, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got to go take it and get a new top put on it this month. Anybody know of any good places to get foreign rag tops put on foreign cars? I got a list of places not to go, but I don't have a list of places to go.
There's a place on Johnson Creek Boulevard. Actually, it's not on Johnson Creek Boulevard, but it's at the end of Johnson Creek Boulevard, heading west. And I'm not sure how good they are and exactly what all they do, but I went there once to have a new awning put together for a travel trailer. You know, you had to sew it up and all that stuff.
Yep.
And they did a nice job on that. I don't remember the name of the place, but it's southeast here.
Okay. Well, if you think of it, let me know. The top on a Datsun Fairlady goes on just like the top on an Austin 3000. So if they do Austins, I'd be pretty happy taking my car there.
Yeah, well, what's the deal in putting a top on? I don't know on those.
Well, this is a stay fast top, so it's a silicon impregnated canvas top, and it has no holes in it, so they have to locate the holes. And then the top is actually stitched to the frame. I've rebuilt the frame, which is nothing wrong with it. I just took it, cleaned it up, and had it powder coated, and then put all stainless steel hardware in it. But I really, the tops are $800. I really don't want to screw it up.
Yeah, I hear you. I'll see if I can find that.
Yeah, I'd be interested. I could at least call them and talk to them.
Yeah.
I've called a couple of places, and they said, what kind of car is it? And I'll tell them, and they go, yeah, no.
Oh, wow.
and and there's not a lot of hesitation in their voice, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah, hell yes.
They're not like putting a modern top on.
Mhm.
One of the guys I called and told him, and he said, "What kind of car is it?" And I told him, and he goes, "I've never heard of a Datsun." He says, "What the hell is that?" And somebody yelled in the back of the shop, and I heard him over the phone going, "We don't do those." That's okay. Thank you for your time. Yeah, it was. Yeah, even my son Brian knows that Datsun was his Nissan.
Yeah.
Of course, it's his car, so I would expect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we had a Datsun pickup out on a farm my dad had. It ran and ran and ran. I mean, I don't.
It wasn't a blue one. Wasn't a blue one, was it? I bought a blue one off of the farm and drove it home and drove it and then sold it.
No, it was a red one.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I guess it was when Dad died, we finally got rid of it.
I had I bought mine derelict in the field,
Mm.
and had a camper shell on it that was all moldy and nasty. So went to the dump, and the lady says, "We got a minimum." And I said, "That's okay." I had like a trash can or a couple of trash bags in the back of the vehicle, and she was trying to convince me that I had a better thing to do with my 2 bags. But when I came back through, she kind of looked at me, and she looked at the truck, she looked at me, and she goes, "Oh, okay, I get it." That was a major improvement. I got a round of applause from the folks that were there at the dump with me. But like you said, I bought it used, and I cleaned it. I cleaned the first bath that got inside and out was with a pressure washer. And same thing, man. I drove the wheels off. We moved from Corvallis up to here, and I drove that as a daily driver for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun. Nobody'd get near me on the freeway.
My dad had this Plymouth Fury 3, was it? Something like that. Big boat. Anyway, it was a company car. And so when he retired, he bought it off the company. Well, he was never very nice to his cars anyway. But anyway, so he used it out there in the orchard. We had 4,800 pear trees. Anyway, he'd go out, drive out there, do something, and then he'd end up somewhere else and walking back. And so that thing would be sitting out there with the windows open in the rain. And anyway, my mom was taking my son out there looking at things, and, well, why don't we take Grandpa's car back, and my son took one look at the mushrooms growing in the carpet and decided to walk back.
I had an acquaintance out in Texas that had a Plymouth Fury 3, and it was his Skywarn car. It was what he drove to do tornado chasing in.
Oh.
And I remember hearing him on the radio, and he was reporting, golf ball and baseball size hail. And I asked him at the next meeting, I said, what car do you drive that you do that to? And he goes, "Oh, I've got this old olive green colored Plymouth Fury 3. He says, I'm on my 4th windshield."
It was olive green also.
Well, it was an ugly car.
But you take it out on the road and it sure burned the rubber. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
That was crazy. I don't know what kind of mileage it got, but it sure had power, man.
Single digit.
Just what he needed for running around in the orchard,
I've just taken a big step back in gas mileage.
Yeah.
I just put my little Kia Soul on a carrier and sent it to Southern California for my daughter, and we swapped cars. I took back the Toyota 4Runner that I bought back in 2001, so I'm back to a 14 mile per gallon car in town.
Ugh.
And it doesn't burn rubber. It just makes a lot of noise sometimes.
But 14 miles a gallon?
14, 19 on the freeway.
Wow.
It has a little underpowered V6 in it. I think about 180 horsepower, and it's a 6,300 pound car. You know, it's a pickup. It's basically truck based. It's got a transfer case and 4-wheel drive, and you know, and an automatic transmission. So yeah, it's just a pig.
My 06 Durango with a Hemi in it does better than that. It's 15, 16 around town, and on the road it'll do 22 at times, but it's typically 21 on the road at 70, something in that order.
Wow.
But it sure pulls a travel trailer. Well, then it goes down to 11. Yeah, pretty quick. I wish it had a bigger tank for when we're pulling the trailer.
Yeah, that'd be nice. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna take off here. Good
I think
seeing
I am too.
everybody. It's late here, so.
Yeah. You know, we have Zoom meetings with the museum, and we've got another volunteer that lives in Germany.
Oh my
And-
goodness.
And we have 3 o'clock meetings. Well, that's midnight for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I will try to be at the meeting on Saturday, so. see you.
Okay, well, see you then. I'm going to check
Tomorrow,
out too. Catch you guys later.
No, if anybody wants to buy a scope or a multimeter, let me know.
Okay.
Is Mike on tonight?
Yeah, I'm on. Not, which mic? Which mic?
It sounds like you're on stage.
This is Mike Moran, not Mike McCrow.
That's all right. You still sound like you're on stage.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'm out here in the garage, so.
You have a price in mind for that scope, Blake?
I'd kind of like to get 3.5 for it. They sell new, I think, for about 800, and I think you can get them on eBay for anywhere between 350 and about 500. So.
Okay.
And I've got all the probes and everything that came with it.
Nice.
I think I'm gonna go 45 on the multimeter. I've got the AC adapter for it.
You said that was a fluke?
Yeah, it's a Fluke 37. Let's see. Turn the camera around. Well, that didn't work. There it is.
Wow, looks like it's in good shape.
Yeah, it's in nice shape. What's hard to find is the AC adapter for them. It's a very unique looking plug and a very unique voltage, but got that. It's auto ranging and all of that. So it's been a good unit, but I'm going to pare this bench down to one workstation now.
You bet.
All right. Well, I'm going to mute because I'm getting ready to do some hammering. So I'll be here, but I'll be back in a minute.
Sounds good.